family members, and today you're going to see the final match in Group A of the Asia Cup League stages. It's going to be India versus Nepal, and there is going to be a little bit of stake for both the sides here. I mean, remember, Pakistan have already qualified because they won against Nepal and they got 1 point from their abandoned game against India also. So, with plus 4.7 and minus 4.7 for Nepal, you can very well assume that India and Pakistan will be your two teams that will head into the Asia Cup Super 4 stages. Now remember, today's game in Pallekele, if you had noticed Nikhil's, if you had watched Nikhil's weather update from Kanji, it was very evident. Kandy would get rain, Pallekele would have a stop-start day yet again. But this time, the stop-start will not be that frequent as it was in the India versus Pakistan encounter. So, what should India be wanting to do if they have to qualify? I think now that since some key players have gone out, remember there is no Jasprit Bumrah. So, Jasprit Bumrah's absence means that either Mohammad Shami or Prasidh Krishna come in. Maybe it will most likely be Mohammad Shami who will slot automatically back in. Now, what is going to be the situation for India? Simple, they just have to win. If the game is abandoned yet again, like how we saw in the India versus Pakistan game, even then India will go through because they'll have 2 points, Nepal will only have 1 point. Now, if Nepal do the unthinkable and beat India today in Pallekele, then India are eliminated from the Asia Cup. Now remember, we can have a prospect wherein all the four traditional powerhouses of Asia feature in the Super Fours. India, Pakistan, Bangladesh and Sri Lanka. Now remember, Bangladesh have made it to the Super Fours because their net run rate is in such a great position that even if Bangladesh thrash Sri Lanka, they will not be able to do anything about Bangladesh's net run rate. So that is why Bangladesh and Pakistan have qualified for the Super Fours. Sri Lanka versus Afghanistan is a virtual shootout now. If Sri Lanka loses, they can still make it on the basis of their net run rate. So, Afghanistan are all but eliminated from the Super 4 race. So, you could see Pakistan, India, Sri Lanka and Bangladesh in the Super 4s. Now, remember, all the games are going to be held in Pallekele from 9th onwards till 17th. They all have shifted the venue from Colombo all the way to Pallekele and potentially even Dambulla has been looked at. But remember, Dambulla will not host the matches because it's not yet ready. Suddenly, after a decade, you ask Dambulla to get ready, it is not going to be great. So that is the reason why it is a big problem. So Pallekele is going to host all the games. But if you have a look at the weather in Pallekele for the next week, it's rotten. Even for India versus Pakistan, potentially on September 10th, there is rain expected. 72% probability of rain in Pallekele. A steady drizzle, by the way. Now that will become very frustrating indeed because remember, this is the retreating monsoon that is currently on in Sri Lanka at this time. Sri Lanka, as I've told you, gets the double whammy of both the monsoons. So, this is the reason why it made sense for them to shift it to Colombo and then into Pallekele. But again, no one accounted for the fact that the weather in Pallekele would be so uncertain because Kanji gets a lot more rain than Pallekele. But Pallekele, since it's in a rain shadow area, gets very steady drizzle rain. And Nikhil had pointed out in the video that yes, maybe if teams were much more braver, if administrators were to be much more braver, they could have actually carried on playing. But since it was steady rain, the ground staff did not want to take any chances. And because of that, they covered the entire ground, if you will remember. But the rain was steady enough to ensure that there would be a lot of water accumulated on the cover. So that's why I think the ground staff made a wise decision to ensure that they could cover the entire field and ensure that you at least could play the remainder of the games without any problems in Pallekele. Now, what should India's strategy be? Technically, if you have to look at it, India should want to bowl first. I agree that yes, India want to test themselves by wanting to bat and ensure that they get going and have a big total and see how they can defend it. But remember, this is Nepal. Even if you win by 200 runs or 150 runs, you are not going to get any kind of answers. The Pakistan versus India game did not give you any answers whatsoever because it rained out. So we don't have the fitness assessment of Jasprit Bumrah. We don't know how fit he'll be to bowl the full 10 overs. You'll only get to see that on September 10th against Pakistan. Now remember, the World Cup preliminary squad is going to be announced tomorrow. AajTak will have a press conference with Rohit Sharma and all, and that is why the likes of Shreyas Iyer, the likes of KL Rahul. Now KL Rahul is going to have a match simulation today. We'll get the latest update from the NCA as to how he did it, and most likely KL Rahul is slotting back in. Whatever you see in the Asia Cup squad, I will already tell you your 15 members in the preliminary squad. Whatever you see in the Asia Cup squad, minus 3 names, Prasidh, Tilak and Sanju Samson. Take these 3 out, and these players, whatever 15 has been selected, are your World Cup squads. Now remember, the 15 that will be announced on September 5 is preliminary. You can make changes galore, you can revamp the entire squad until September 28th. After that, you will need to, if you want to make any changes, the ICC technical committee has to step in. And that is why it is going to happen. So today, KL Rahul's fitness match simulation is going to be tested. And in that, whether he can keep for the full 50 overs, that will be seen. Now, if KL Rahul is past fit and if he plays in the Pakistan game on 10th, what about Ishan Kishan? Can you leave out Ishan Kishan? Unfortunately, brutally, blunt, honest, yes. If KL Rahul comes in, you cannot slot in Ishan Kishan. Where will he bat? Because remember, Rohit Sharma, Shubman Gill, Virat Kohli are all cast in stone. Shreyas Iyer also is at number 4. The only spot is 5. Kishan and Rahul, that is the situation. Now, whether India make changes today, and I hope they don't repeat the mistake of 2022, wherein after they won a humdinger against Pakistan, they rotated the players saying, oh, we won't rest. And then you saw what happened. Some of the players lost rhythm, including Hardik Pandya. Now today, I hope India don't make many changes, because if they do, it will be a big, big mistake. One is definitely a forced change because Jasprit Bumrah isn't in. So Bumrah is out. Shami will come back in for this game. That is the only change we hope and expect. But today the focus will not just be on Pallekele, it will also be in Bengaluru, because KL Rahul will have that match simulation, and if he is fit, he will slot back in the World Cup 15 squad, and they will make an announcement on the 5th. But it is unprecedented for one player, looking at his fitness, looking at the team composition and balance that he offers, you are willing to delay your World Cup squad announcement. In my entire lifetime of watching cricket, I have never seen such an incident happen. So, this is new times in Indian cricket. We all want to see how the players cope up, and now we are seeing KL Rahul. One hopes that he's fit and that until November he has no more injuries, or even after that for a year or 2 years he doesn't suffer injuries, because you have to feel very sorry for KL Rahul. I mean, he suffers injuries. When he was at his peak, he suffered an injury, and now he has to come back into rhythm. That is going to be the major challenge now. So you really have to feel for KL Rahul, and one hopes that he's past fit. And if Ishan Kishan doesn't make it, tough luck. Tough luck. He will be in the 15. Definitely he'll be in the 15. But whether he plays, big question. So today, one of our family members asked, Thakuri is asking, what about Nepal versus India match with the conditions? Thakuri, you can check out our previous video that Nikhil did from Pallekele. It is not going to be that much of a stop-start like what we saw in India versus Pakistan. There are chances of rain, but it won't be that frequent as it was in the India versus Pakistan encounter. So looking at that, hopefully India win the toss and bowl first, because you would want to get back into rhythm. No problem even if Nepal get bundled out for a low score, but then you have to ensure that your bowlers get into rhythm. So how will your bowlers get into rhythm? By bowling first. If the rain interrupts yet again, you'll still not have many answers. So that is why India versus Pakistan, India versus Nepal, that is the weather situation. Not many weather conditions. It won't be. So, Choco Squirrel, I'm not taking that. And Deepak Chaudhary, will they play Surya Kumar Yadav? I hope they don't, because Shreyas Iyer is coming back after a long injury layoff. If you again rest him, what is the point of him coming back? So that is why this is the situation. Now, if I have to turn to other sports, the world of other sports, Pilu Reporter, one of our first neutral umpires and one of the most prominent Indian umpires. I mean, if you had noticed Pilu Reporter, you would see that he would do a very vigorous force signal like this. That would be Pilu Reporter. Pilu Reporter, one of India's best umpires, and currently he was one of the first neutral umpires, by the way, in world cricket. He has died at the age of 84. Our sympathies and condolences go out to Pilu Reporter's family. One of the finest umpires that had come out from India, and he was truly one of a sight to see on the cricketing field. So that is why it's kind of sad after Heat Streak. The death of Pilu Reporter also is very, very sad. So that is the situation when it comes to Pilu Reporter. And then you saw how England managed to capitulate against New Zealand. Australia completed the whitewash against South Africa, but their real test begins in the ODI series. So that is why Australia versus South Africa, the ODI series begins on the 7th. It's going to be a very important series indeed. Now, we saw in football, Arsenal versus Manchester United. What a sight it was. Manchester United took the lead, but then within 1 minute they conceded and they equalized, Arsenal. Towards injury time, they conceded 2 goals and Arsenal have won by 3-1 against Manchester United. They have beaten Manchester United 3-1. And yet again, Manchester United was a case of what if. There were a lot of other Premier League results also that came up, but Arsenal versus Manchester United. Liverpool registered a 3-0 win. Manchester United, unfortunately, a 1-3 loss. If you look at the Italian Grand Prix, it was yet again not much of incidents, and Supermax did the perfect 10 yet again. Supermax, Max Verstappen, 10 consecutive wins. It's a world record now. It's a world record. No other driver in the history of Formula 1 has won 10 consecutive wins and in a season, and Max Verstappen has done it. Now, if you have to look at other sports, the US Open is currently going on. There has not been much of upsets when you look at it, but Daniel Medvedev seems to be having a massive problem with the crowds. The crowds have really gone after Daniel Medvedev, and he is losing it at this point in time. So the US Open results are continuing, and it's not as if there have been big upsets or big casualties. Out of the top 2, top 3, if you look at it, they are still in contention. So the US Open continues to deliver us not so many surprising results at this time. So that is the current situation that we have, and the reason why Jasprit Bumrah returned is for personal reasons. You can check out and whatever, but we all extend congratulations to Jasprit Bumrah for becoming a father. That is the reason why he came back. So it is a very, very great day for Jasprit Bumrah and his family. A new chapter has indeed begun for them. A great moment indeed, a proud moment indeed. Jasprit Bumrah, congratulations. But we hope that he can come back, and on the 10th, he delivers India a win against Pakistan, potentially in Pallekele. So today, India versus Nepal, not much of rain is expected, but there will be a bit of a stop-start. So simple, India win, they are through. If India lose, they are out. That is the situation in the Asia Cup Super 4 race. So thank you so much, folks, for joining us for this live. We'll be back with more updates on sports today. Tap that bell icon so you know when we go live, and don't forget we're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. Thank you.